Hi, everyone. Welcome to our session. So, today's session is called Beyond the Label Building Relationships that Empower Students with IEPs. We're going to go ahead and start with just some introductions. My name is Stephanie Agudo. I am a RSP teacher. I'm actually Emma's RSP teacher. So, I'm so excited today to come and speak just a little bit about our relationship and how it can empower students who have IEPs. So, Emma, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Emma, like Miss Agudo said. I'm in fourth grade and I've been in the RSP program for about 2 years and a half. Miss Agudo is my RSP teacher, like she said also. Um, I am dyslexic, therefore I'm in the RSP program. Um, what dyslexia means to me is like I have hard sounding things out, really have to work on my writing, spelling, just remembering the rules in our English language. What also worked for me in the beginning of RSP was really doing like at really sounding them out using kinetic sound. I don't use it as much because I'm more practicing to make it more fluent, but I used to when I was a little bit younger, a tiny bit. And that is all for my tiny introduction, and I'll leave it to Miss Agudo.
Perfect, Emma. Awesome. So, just a little bit about what Resource Specialist Program is. In special education, RSP stands for Resource Specialist Program. This program provides individualized instruction and support to students with disabilities who are primarily included in general education classrooms. So, RSP often is provided within the general education setting. So, you can have push in or you can have targeted pull out support outside of the classroom. Really, like our goal is to help students access and succeed in the general education curriculum. We want to build that bridge. We want to make sure they're successful in their general education classroom. So, just a little bit about me before we jump into our dialogue back and forth. The credential that I hold is a multiple subject credential, and I also have an educational specialist credential for students with mild, moderate disabilities. I have a BA in liberal studies. I achieved my BA from Cal State Long Beach. And I also got my multiple subject credential from there as well. And then my ed specialist instruction credential, I got it from the Los Angeles County of Education. I did an intern program, which was amazing. I would advise that to anybody. It's such an amazing experience to learn and then have that hands-on experience. So, a short little bio about me of why I became a special education teacher. And before I tell you anything, I love this job. Like it is the most rewarding. We get to work with students like Emma and just see them grow and blossom. So, I am a passionate educator. For students who have special needs. Like that's what I would say a little bit about me. My journey began when I was a young girl. I always wanted to become a teacher. The teacher that most impacted me was my fifth grade teacher. He actually teaches in the same district as me now, so we're colleagues. But he inspired me to go above and beyond. When I was a senior in high school, I was accepted into Cal State Long Beach. I pursued the liberal studies degree, like I said earlier, and the multiple subject credential in hopes that I would become a primary school teacher. I wanted to just teach little kids. Then, in when I student taught, I actually student taught in a fifth grade classroom, and I fell in love with upper grade. I had an amazing, exceptional mentor teacher, and she just guided me and instructed me, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I ended up fast forward years later. I taught fourth grade in the district that I am working for now, and then the pandemic happened. Everyone knows after the pandemic, so many shifts in education happened, right? So my I was let go, and my principal approached me and she said, would you ever think about becoming an RSP teacher? We have an open position. It was actually a 50-50 position. It was at two different school sites. And I said, yeah, I would love that. What does that entail? And so she said, you would have to go to school at night and then you would teach during the day. And, since obviously we're in a pandemic, it would be online. So I said, oh, I could do that. At that time I had my little one was just born. So I said, oh, this works out perfect. And I can tell you that it was the best decision that I made. If any of you are thinking of going into special education, it is definitely a field that you just watch students grow and you find things that can unlock the secret and the passion within. So years later, here I am, loving what I do, and now I get to talk alongside Emma and just talk about our relationship and our journey. So you're in tune. Stay in tune. You guys are here for a wonderful session. So thank you for attending. So today we're going to share a few important lessons we learned while working together. Lessons that show how relationships and recognizing student strengths can truly, truly change lives. So the first lesson is titled Believing in Student Strengths. Every student has strengths. We just have to look for them. Emma, can you share one or two of your strengths?
Yes, I can. Working hard and never giving up. Let me explain a little bit. When I first went into the RSP program, I was kind of scary because there's new learning techniques and different ways. And I was also pulled out of my school, my class, sorry, my class. But I got the hang of it like 2 months later, and it really helped. And I never gave up during those years. Um, Sounding out like I could in my beginning, hand movements using sand. Um, that's one of my work ethics. Never working hard. I always wanted to really get that extra thing, and now I'm at grade level because of that working hard potential. During the first year of my RSP journey, I was really struggling in reading. I barely knew how to read, but Miss Aguda peeped working with me, and I worked hard too and never gave up. And I finally got where I need. This year, I'm finally at grade level, and I'm really excited to grow my knowledge.
Emma, can you share with everyone the type of school that you're at, so they can kind of get a foundation of, you know, like what you're learning, because you're learning a little bit high level, like where you're at. So let them know what school you go to.
I learn Spanish and English at my Duolingo school, Carpenter Elementary in the Downey.
So Emma is learning English and Spanish, and despite her disability, she still was able to achieve grade level. But of course, obviously that's due to her strengths, right? Like she has so many. Emma's strengths include resilience, passion, and drive to learn and going above and beyond. Noticing these strengths really helped me know when to push Emma. I push Emma. I know what she's capable of, right? And I encourage her and I tell her keep going no matter what. Like especially in her writing, she struggles a lot well, she used to struggle a lot more with decoding. Now she's utilized her resources and her accommodations, but what's really amazing is that Emma is not afraid to take on a challenging assignment as long as she knows that she has the proper guidance and encouragement. And I like to push my students. They are capable if we give them the tools and help them be successful and show them what they can do and not be afraid to push them, right, Emma? Like if we continue to push you and show you, you can do it, right?
Yeah.
So if we focus on student strengths as educators, it's essential to building and supporting their development. By building on their individual strengths, us educators, right, we can promote more effective learning, increase student engagement, which is what we all want, right? Like we want our students to be engaged. We want them to be thriving, and it can grow their confidence. I mean, I've seen my kids shine, but of course that takes time, right? It takes time getting to know them, to taking time to see them on a deeper level, really sitting with them, really understanding what works for them, and seeing them beyond their disability, seeing their strengths, empowering them, showing them that they have this amazing capability within them. So that's what I do on a daily basis, and I love it. All right. So, our second lesson for today is relationships build confidence. Students need trust before they can take risks and succeed. Emma, can you share a moment when you felt supported and believed in?
When I first supported
Hmm.
and believed in,
Hmm.
When I went to my first IEP meeting, the yearly, my school does that. I think other schools do that too, right? Okay.
Yes.
I've always really just had my mom say, "Oh, they said you did good on this part. They said you need to work on this part." But third grade, I was a little bit more curious and a risk taker at my school. And I said, I wanted to go to mine. So when I took this idea to Miss Good, she's like, "Yeah, you can go for it." And that really built trust with me. I already had trust with her. It was not that long ago, but that built extra trust. And when I went, it was really exciting. All my teachers were there. The principal was there, and that was exciting. They told me right to my face what I need to work on and what I'm really good at, and made my confidence boost too. Uh, I guess that really boosted my confidence and trust with Miss Agudo, that she wasn't like, "Why would you want to go?" and question it. She was just supporting me.
Absolutely, Emma. Why would you say that kids like, do you recommend kids to go to their IEPs, right?
Yes,
What
most definitely.
why? Why do you specifically think that?
Because you get to hear it for yourself and not just someone saying it for yourself. So you really get to see those compliments, and that really builds your confidence. And if you have a learning disability like me, it might give you an extra boost for your study. So you're like, oh, I want to go to mine again and get that good confidence again.
Perfect. Thank you, Emma. Yeah, it was interesting to have Emma. She was my first student who ever wanted to attend her IEP, and it was great. She could handle it. She was very mature. She was listening. She chimed in when she should chime in, and I think it was very beneficial. I there is a certain time, when students should join in. I would say like third grade or above would be ideal, right? And you have to gauge it for your students, but I think it was really helpful for Emma to go to her IEP meeting because it's her education, right? Like she approved of her accommodation. She was like, wow, yeah, that would help me a lot. And so it's interesting, so, really thinking about that question, right? How building trust helps kids take risks and succeed. I think I've established that with Emma, right? She takes risks every single day. I give her a prompt. I'm like, hey, here, I want you to try this. Can you write a 5 paragraph essay for me? And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But I wouldn't be able to do that on her first day, right? It took time, it took effort. I had to water that soil, right? And help her grow. So I would say for any future educators out there, or educators today, right? Establishing trust with students is essential in the gen ed classroom as well as the special ed classroom. It is important for students to feel confident that you will support them and encourage them in the most constructive way. Meaning, even if there's something that they struggle in, pull them aside, talk with them. I know, Emma, you said the best way for a teacher to come to you is pulling you aside, right? Like not saying it
Yes.
out, right? How does that make you feel like when they pull you to the side or say it out? Like what's.
When they pull me in the whole class, it's like uncomfortable because everyone just looks at you like for a split second. They're like, "Oh, why do you need to do that?" And then it's kind of uncomfortable if like you're just trying to go to RSP at your regular time, and then the teacher's like, "Oh yeah, Emma, go," and everyone just looks at you, and I'm like, it's embarrassing. But when they just say, when they just nod or say like a thumbs up, no one looks at you because they're looking in the class. They're not. She didn't say anything, so just means like she knows I'm there, but she doesn't need to go full on say, yeah, I'm gonna go. So that really kind of builds trust too.
So, building trust also creates a safe environment where students feel comfortable making mistakes and experience growth. I know, like in my RSP classroom, I always tell them we learn from our mistakes. We grow what we go through, right? We create that safe place for them to let their hair down, right, and let them be themselves and let them experience growth. I think that that's so essential, building that trust, creating that self, like that safe environment for them, right? Students need to know that they can approach you with academic challenges and that you can assist them without causing discouragement, fostering a sense of confidence and resilience. I know for me, my students know that they can come to me, if they have a lesson that they need to work on, if they're struggling. Just this week, we talked about geometry in our class. The fourth grade teacher was like, "Oh, they need to review for their unit test." I said, "Absolutely." We had something else planned, but we decided, okay, let's do this. My job is I don't want them just to shine in my RSP classroom. I want them to shine in their gen ed classroom. I want them to show everyone what they got, what they can do. So I really do hear my students out. I give them the opportunity to share and to express their needs. I know, like, my fifth graders were working on their creative narrative this week, and they were struggling with some of the graphic organizers. And I said, "All right, let's work on it. Let's do it together. Okay, tell me what's your rising action. Tell me what your plot, your climax, your everything." And they said, "Oh, this is not that hard." And they were so excited telling me their stories. And then I said, "Come on, let's get it down. Let's write it. Let's use our graphic organizers." And what's really neat is we utilize technology to do that, and we talk about things and we work things out, and all of their ideas are amazing. So I just give them that open space and that opportunity to be able to share and to be able to just feel safe and feel okay. And I think as educators, we need to do that. They spend the majority of their time with us, right, Emma? Like, you guys spend all day with us. We're like your second home, and we need to make sure we foster that environment and create that special time for them so that they can grow. I know another way that I build trust with my students is I actively listen to them. I encourage them. I respond when they need assistance. Like I said, even though I may have one specific plan, my predetermined plans, if they need me to help them in another project, or if it's writing, reading, or math, or anything to help them, come alongside them, even for their tests. A lot of them want to do their tests in our class because it's a little more quiet. It's a smaller setting. I said, absolutely. Here's your safe place. Here's your quiet place. Just get up your board, and we can do that. So I would just say that is a goal of mine, to always make sure that to have a safe place for students, to make sure that they can grow and foster that for them. So our third lesson is about learning differences, and how they're not just different paths. So, supporting learning differences is about being flexible, not lowering expectations. Emma, I know you do not like people to lower expectations. I know for me, you're like, nope, tell me what to do, I'll do it. But Emma, can you share with everyone how you learn best?
How I learn best,
Mhm.
hands-on learning, like I said, like earlier, sounding it out. We have this word work that is on digital on our iPads because our school provides that for us, and we use it and we just really get it. Like Miss Agula would say "at," and then would say, and they would spell it out on the woodwork. I mean, they just get to know those words, and then we'll say cat, and then she'll change it up and say, okay, now replace the C with B, bat. I would rather that. That works too. When I was a little bit younger, the hand thing, when you go act. I'm really going for cats today, I guess. Cat.
Mhm.
Sand too. That really helps. Just hands-on stuff. Text to speech helps me with my writing too. It's like a tool. And audiobooks really just to hear the book, like the story.
Excellent. So, really having that physical touch, right? Like using those multiple intelligences. How does technology help you? Like, I'm curious. I know you were talking a little bit about the word work mat, which is a blending mat that we use, and but speech to text, you utilize that, right?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Utilize it a lot for like says let's say I don't know I know how to spell most of the words, but let's say I don't know how to spell one. I use it so I'm just not like the whole entire time I'm in class, oh, what how do you spell that? And then my teacher is busy in my regular class, so I can't just walk up to her and say, hey, do you know what I was like? She has like 27 other students. So just that tiny word kind of like, and then there's a whole line sometimes, like we're trying to use a public bathroom. Those lines take forever, by the way. That's
So utilizing that stuff to help you, right? So what about like text to speech? How does that help you? Especially like in English and in Spanish.
Text to speech. I don't know how to spell words, so I just use it, and then I can write it down in my writing notebook, or or sometimes I use it the other way. Let's say I don't know how to say a word in a book. I go to my iPad and put the word spelling, and then on my text to speech app, it has so you sound like so you can hear what the word says, and that tells me what the word is. I also do that sometimes.
I know, like, for what we utilize a lot, like, in our classes, we use the text to speech so that it can be read aloud to you, right? So that you can connect to the passage. I know, like, when Emma was not at grade level, and I still gave her grade level content, I still gave her reading instruction at her level, but in addition, I like to expose all my students to their grade level content because obviously, my goal is for them, like I've said earlier, is I want them to be successful in their classroom. But utilizing those tools, Emma is amazing with her technology and using everything in every possible way to help our students, helps them go above and beyond and pushing them. Emma, I want to just touch upon that a little bit more, like as far as like pushing you. Do you want teachers to push you, or do you want teachers kind of like, you know?
Back off me.
Yeah.
Um, Push me, but at the same, not too much pushing. That can also make me a little bit like stressed and push, like give me too much work to do, or just pushing me too hard. That can also give me a lot, just like the right amount, like the three Goldilocks and the three bears. Just the right push in my direction. That helps me. Like the other lesson, trust. If you don't push me too hard, I can build trust. If you just get the perfect right of pushing, you can build trust too.
So, like,
For me,
challenging you, right? Like,
yes.
challenging you, good. So Emma such an amazing student. When Emma and I began our journey together, she had difficulty with reading. And like she said, and I'm so proud to say, I always tell everyone, yeah, she's at reading at grade level. She still struggles with some decoding, but her comprehension is off the charts. And that's for our students with dyslexia. Sometimes they're still going to struggle. They need to use their accommodations to be successful, but if they can still understand the text, they can keep going. We can keep pushing them. We can keep giving them as much as they can so we can get as much as we can out of them in the time that we have them. I think what works best for her and for most of my students, because I saw a significant jump and just an understanding and decoding with my students, is I implemented a systematic phonics program. It's very systematic. I mean, there's a scope and sequence, there's a specific way we need to do the lessons, and it's very repetitive. It's called UFly. It's from the University of Florida Learning Institute. We linked it in the links for everyone so you guys could check out this amazing phonics program. It made an impact on my students to decode words and comprehend the text. It's beautiful program because it is very systematic, but it includes decodables and includes connected text. All of the lessons are broke down in 2-day lessons. They include phonemic awareness. They have visual, auditory drills. It's so simple to implement into your daily lessons. I mean, it's been a game changer for us at my school, especially with my students who all day long they're learning Spanish. So when they come to me, they get their English instruction, and it's very systematic, and they're reading. We opened up a brand new world for them. So it's amazing. So in this in this program, they're broken down into different concepts. There's lessons. So like I said, phonemic awareness, visual, auditory drills, blending drills, word work. Emma talked a little bit about that earlier. Word work is amazing. The UFly program, if you look it up, they have all these free resources. They have the blending mats. We put those in our Google Classroom, and our kids utilize them. And it's so neat. It has digraphs. It has all the different vowel patterns, different things on there, letters, so the kids can manipulate the words. We focus on decoding, encoding with our students. Um, and in addition, there's irregular words. So they have specific irregular words that don't necessarily follow all of the rules for our students, but they work on those specific words during that lesson. Like I said earlier, there's connected and decodable text. The beautiful thing about the decodable text is that they follow whatever concept we're learning for that time. And then we can ask them questions about that text so we don't lose that comprehension. And my students, they love it. They've been thriving in it. In addition to our UFly program, something we've already also added to our program, we use a decodable text as well as nonfiction and in fiction text. So that's been really neat. We're able to see exactly, we test our students, we give them a phonics assessment, and then we're able to see where they really struggle and what we need to hone in on to help them be more successful. So I utilize a bunch of different programs just to help them. But another thing that's really been helping my students, for me, a goal was I really wanted to become a better writing teacher for my students. I think that as teachers, we kind of all struggle with that a little bit. Um, if anyone has any other ideas, I'd love to glean from you. But I know for me, I want my students to be able to be successful in their classrooms. I want them to know the structure. And something that has really helped our students, in addition to AI, because I've been using that a lot also to like really create outlines for my students, really simplified outlines to help them in graphic organizers. But we've been using color coding to help them learn the structure of writing. So I think, Emma, that's really helped you, right? Don't you think the color coding, right?
Yeah.
So using, for a topic sentence, I tell them, okay, green topic sentence. That means go, get your topic sentence in there. And then in addition to that, I tell them, okay, now what do we need to include in our text? Okay, we need to have our detail sentences, and then we need to have our conclusion sentence. And I use the academic vocabulary, like when we're writing an opinion paper, I tell them, okay, what's the last sentence in your introduction? It's your thesis statement. We need to make sure we have our thesis statement. We put our three reasons, and then what are we going? And it's a real repetitive, but it works. It's something that I think has just made a difference in my program, is just being very flexible and just learning that my students are all different types of learners, and what can I do to help them, come alongside them, and just unlock that secret, like I said. Um, so another lesson that we have is small wins matter. This is really dear and near to my heart, because I feel that sometimes our students don't make those huge victories, right? Like, but they make small wins, and those small wins turn into big wins, right? But progress is built on small victories. I don't say practice makes perfect. I say practice makes progress. So progress is built on small victories, not overnight success. So Emma, can you share a proud small moment that you have?
Yes, this happened this year. Super exciting. I finally got a math award. I've been really wanting this award for like the whole time I've been at my school. When I was younger, I've always had a dream to have that award because every year I would get award for like outside thinker, risk taker. Every year until this year, I finally got educational one. I was so excited to have my very first math one with my really big smile when I stand up on the podium. My parents were there, my dad too, and usually it's just my mom because my dad's a teacher. So I was really happy. This actually surprised me, and that small win really gave me a boost of confidence that people are really just seeing who I really am and not just an outside thinker. They really thought in like my academics. Part of me, not just my regular personality.
So would you recommend that, like, gen ed teachers, right? Because for them to look at the academics, even if the student has a disability, right? Like look at their data and see how much they've grown, right? And reward that, right? Yes, is that what that's what I'm kind of gathering from what you're saying,
Oh
right?
yeah, right.
So yeah, I say being a gen ed teacher prior and working with my RSP teacher, I remember we would always be talking, okay, so how did they improve in reading? How did they improve in math? Like, what do you think? If they've made small wins in writing, focus in on that, because that makes such a huge difference in our students. I know for me, I have little rewards for them. I'm like, okay, here's something from our treasure box, but when they get recognized for those because for them learning is a challenge, right, Emma? Like, it's something that you have to go through and work hard on every single day. I mean, all of our students have disabilities, have different challenges, but I know for Emma, she's worked so hard, and for her to get that award just made a world of difference, I'm assuming, right, Emma? Like, I've seen you like get 100% in math. Like, you've just been really, I mean, you have overall success in all areas, but I know that that really made a difference. So if I could just give a tidbit of just advice for gen ed teachers, look at that, look at our students, that have disabilities, see what made them be successful, even if it's small, award them for that, because that really can make a difference in them trying and wanting to succeed, and empowering them. We have to celebrate those small victories. It will encourage students to continue to take risk and not be afraid to go above and beyond and what they think that they're capable of. I know every time I say like a little encouraging word, my kids are like, "Oh, really? You think that about me?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're amazing. Like, you can do this." And so it makes them want to try hard. So just build them up, encourage them every single day. They are with you, and be positive with them. If I can say anything, these kids need to hear it. A lot of times our kids hear like, "Oh yeah, I can't spell," or "Oh yeah, I can't do this." They know when they don't understand a word problem, but if you show them, "Oh my goodness, that was so amazing," that you could understand that how many more meant to subtract, or, "Oh wow, you really used your clue words." Or I know like today, a student was reading and I was like, "Wow, I am so proud of you. You used a great tone when you spoke." Like, it just, and he wanted to keep reading, and I was like, "Wow, what a great expression." And so it really causes something just to just light them up and light that fire. So that's what we need to do every single day. I know with my students, they shine in my classroom, but ultimately I want them to shine in their gen ed classroom. I want them to know that they are just like everyone else. And despite their disability, despite their struggles, they can achieve anything. And if we partner up, RSP teachers and gen ed teachers, we need to partner up, and we need to build and encourage our students, and keep them thriving, and just tell them, if we encourage them, we show them that those small wins really matter, and they'll keep trying. They won't give up. They won't shut down. They'll continue to thrive in middle school. They'll continue to thrive in high school, and go on to college. That's what I tell my students. I said, "You can take your IEP to college." I said, "You can use those accommodations. Like, you can be anything you want." Emma, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Uh, Lawyer,
You can do that, you
but
know?
also on the side stocks.
Oh, awesome. Well, you're good at math. You can definitely do that. So, it starts now, just building those seeds, planting those seeds, building those blocks, showing them and encouraging them so that they don't give up. Okay, Emma. So now we're going to come to the portion where we have that interaction, right? That dialogue, for us to go back and forth. So, Emma, what is your first question for me?
You had all the resources in the world for your RSP kids. What materials would you have for them?
So, specifically, like for working with our students with disabilities,
Learning.
right?
Yeah.
Learning disabilities. Okay. Okay, perfect. Well, that's a huge question. Everything? No. um, if I could have all the resources in the world, I would I would definitely love a classroom that I could have, like, utilize a lot of space, right? For us to be able to move around and interact. I know I would love more technology, that's for sure. Our district, we have been so blessed. They've given us so much. And but I know something that I even applied for is I wanted a smart board. I know uh, we have all the other things, but I was like, oh, a smart board would be so cool to have interactive lessons, to work alongside each other. We do a lot of our work on Google Classroom. We do, like I was saying, our word work. We could do that together. I know that I've been attending some of the other sessions, and I'm like, ooh, I would love to add that into AI, or use Notability where our kids could upload different things. Just have like lessons that are a little more hands on. um, I think that would be kind of cool. What do you think, Emma?
Yes. Just
Yeah.
for people that don't know what a smart board is, do you want to explain?
So a smart board is basically like it's like a TV, but it's also like a computer that you can actually touch. You know, like our iPads, but it's like a larger TV. So it's like a computer that can hold all of the information, but you can interact with it. You can write on it. You could pull up articles. We could actually have a writing assignment and then put an article next to it, and then highlight the article and then put it inside of the writing, which would be really neat for us to do. So that's a smart board. I'm probably leaving out some information of it, but that's something that I've been dreaming about. I think I would like I said, a larger space, more RSP teachers, that's for sure. At my school site, I think one is enough. I'm good right there. But yeah, if we had more people in the field that we could come alongside and work together and empower our students with disabilities, that would be amazing. I know I've also been dreaming about a class with flexible seating. I think that's really neat. I've seen some classrooms where they have like different levels of chairs or they have different types of chairs. I know I was talking to Emma before about this and she's like, I would really like those sensory rocking chairs, so we can move around when we're doing our work. I know for some of my kiddos, we've been working in our innovation lab and they have chairs that kind of move around. They have wheels and they really like that, even though for teachers, for some of us, that's kind of hard, right, them moving around. But I know for our students with disabilities, that can be helpful, just to get that movement in. um, I know we talked earlier a little bit like video games for learning. I use a little bit of Kahoot and some different things, but I know there's so much out there. VR glasses would be kind of cool. I don't really know too much about that, but I know we were talking a little bit about that earlier, and that's some neat things. I think I would like maybe some more games to help practice syllables and sounds, field trips. I know you talked about snacks, right? You said snacks would be great.
Yes. More
um,
snacks.
yeah, I another thing is we were talking about is a personalized AI bot. I touched a little bit about on it in some of the other sessions, so I think maybe we can add that into there next year. But I would say my dream is to have a classroom that feels like home. For our students. Sometimes, many of my students come from different backgrounds and they have different stories and different things, and I would just like to have a safe place. Like I said earlier, as an RSP teacher, we need to create that safe place. As any teacher, right? We need to create a place where our students feel safe to be themselves. And I know there was one classroom that I would love to have a classroom like. The gen ed teacher, she named her classroom Home Sweet Classroom. And in her classroom, she had like a dining room table, she had podium seating for carpet time, different areas for her students. And for me, when I walked into her classroom, I was like, ooh, I like this feeling. Like if I could do that and have the resources for that, I would love to do that. But that's something. But thank you for asking that, Emma. All right. So here, ask me your other question that you have for me.
How do you help students feel more comfortable with their learning disability?
Okay, perfect. So, like I was saying earlier, I'm very open with my students and honest with them. And I always tell my students that our room is their safe place to share and make mistakes, because we learn from our mistakes. I always want them to feel confident in who they are. I also like to go over their IEP. Of course, I always get parent permission, right? I'm like, I want to make sure that you're okay with talking with their student, about their disability. But we talk about it. We don't make it as something like, oh, I have a disability. No, our disability can empower us. I tell them about their accommodations. I want them to be a self advocate. Emma is really good about being a self advocate. She encourages the other students, no, you need to tell them that you have this accommodation. No, you're allowed to use speech to text. But I want them to know their accommodations, so that they could be their self advocate, not only for elementary, but in middle school, in high school, in college. Um, Sometimes kids don't even know that they have a disability. They know they have an IEP, but they don't really know about their disability, and they need to know so that they can they can learn, they can grow. There's so much out there and the world needs every type of person, and we need to help our students. I want to be able to share with gen ed teachers about how they learn best. I want my students to be able to do that. I want them to, that's where they spend the majority of their day. So I want to give them the tools. That's how I would say I would help students feel more confident and comfortable with their learning disabilities. You agree, Emma?
Yes, I totally agree.
Okay, and I actually have a question for you, Emma.
Really? Thank you.
I do. How has knowing about your own disability helped you?
Help me.
Mhm.
He said I am a self-advocate. If I know about my accommodations, that helps me every year. Since I've gotten since I've known I'm dyslexic, I've been telling my teachers, hey, I have this accommodations, I have speech to text audiobooks, I have extra time, I can go to my RSP room. I always told my new teachers the beginning of the year. And I also like to tell them what learning disability I have. Like, hey, I have dyslexia, so I guess you just know. It's a fun fact about me. I don't see it as like a problem or like a challenge. I see it just as me. But other people might think a little bit different. So I just like to say, oh, if I know what learning disability I have, I can also help other kids in
Mhm.
my RSP to say, hey, if you know you can always tell your teacher, unless you just don't want to. But like I always like to tell them that, not to like be afraid to tell their teacher or be embarrassed about it. I'm comfortable telling who all my friends or my teacher or just like my classmates what learning disability I have. And I don't mind it, but I always like to encourage other students to really consider um, being proud of their learning disability.
That's right, Emma. I think that's really important. Be proud of who you are, right? We're all different, right? And if we take pride in it, then we can just grow from there, right? I'm so proud of you. You know, you're such a young advocate, and I'm so excited to see what your future looks like. So now we're going to just switch a little bit from our dialogue of our back and forth. Emma has some tips for gen ed teachers. So get your pencils out and write down these tips because she has a lot of tips for you
Yeah.
guys. So take it away, Emma.
I actually have 5 tips that are very important, so I am going to be reading it from a paper. Tip 1, treat us like everyone else. Give us the support that we need. Oh, okay, yeah. Um,
You want to repeat it one more time?
treat us like everyone else. Give us the support we need. That can also connect with trust. If you give us the support we need, we can grow in our education, really grow from our mistakes, giving us the same support as every other student. But if we need a little bit more support, give a little bit more support, or give less support depending if we really need that. Like on the state test, I was taking it, the state test for the math. I didn't really go to RSP room because it was quiet in my class. Also, my teacher didn't bring it up. She gave us the same support as every kid. She was like, "Oh, you gonna go?" No, I'm not gonna bring it. And she didn't like force me to go. So like that, don't like force the kid and say, "Hey, don't you need to go?" That if they'll tell you if they want to go or not.
Perfect. Okay, you ready for tip two?
Yes, tip 2. Learn about our accommodations and why they help us. That's really important. I also, when the teacher really knows my accommodations, I kind of grow closer to them because they know what I need in my accommodations. I'm excited to go to a middle school, and I know I'm gonna have multiple teachers a day or a week, and it's gonna have some teacher like super flexible with my accommodations, and they're going to be like more strict teachers, and hopefully I get the more flexible. But if they really know my accommodations, it really helps me going into their class, going into the class, not like having those accommodations and just knowing gives me like comfort and support that I really need. Um, if you don't really know my things, I have to remind you a lot, and that can be kind of annoying to me if the people reminding you the same things. That's tip two. And tip three is believe in us. Even if it takes a little longer, we'll get there. What I mean, we'll get there. I mean, when we're learning different things a year, you learn everything new. And for some students, it might be super easy to learn different things, and it might be harder. For me, writing's my hardest. I got to my level in reading, but right now, writing's like my priority right now. Reading too, but just because I struggle a little bit more in writing. I really want to get to my like really good in my writing. Um, we might need longer time. We have that in our accommodations, but we might just need longer time for assignments just to really get it in, or like take photos just to really get that information in, and we're not behind or like we get it. So it might take a little bit longer or it might go faster, depending what subject it is for a kid.
Mhm.
Tip four. No, sorry. Tip three. Now, tip four, let us show what we know in different ways. When I mean like that, not just the traditional writing, reading. I mean like if we can't show it in our writing, maybe we can do a speech or like a little video on iMovie or on our iPads. Just show our information. The student in your class or the student that at all might know how to like say it or have their ideas in their brain. They just need help getting out of their brain or getting out of their mouth. So instead of just doing the traditional, I suggest asking them if you want to do it on like a speech to you or just talking about it.
So having that voice and choice is important.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
That was tip four. Tip five. The last tip. Don't tell other students about their learning disability. That's so really important for me because uh, when I was younger, I had a teacher and we were reading a book and it was about a girl that had dyslexia. And at the end of the book, she said, "Oh, Emma has dyslexia." And I didn't get mad. I was like surprised, but I didn't mind because if people are curious about just learning disabilities or dyslexia, I was open to have conversations about it. But then more like questions and questions and questions came up because she just said it out loud. I didn't tell like my friends, just like the whole class. I'm saying that being curious isn't bad, but some students will ask the same questions over and over again, and that overload me and I'm trying to do my work. I wasn't that comfortable in my class after that, but they got over it, but it was still not comfortable for a while. Also, for other students, I was fine with it, but I have this person in my RSP class. I don't think he would be like comfortable with that. You can, if you really want to have that connection, maybe ask the kid, "Hey, can I connect you?" Or no. They might say yes or no. I would say yes, but other kids might say no, depending how they feel or they're comfortable with their learning disability or they just don't want to.
I
That
love it.
was all my tips, but they're really important. So, maybe later today you could think about them, really just go through them in your head.
Perfect. Emma, I love those tips. So I'm just going to repeat your tips one more time. Is that okay if I just repeat them
Yeah.
one more time for everyone? You did such an amazing job. I am so, so proud of you. So, again, these tips came from Emma. They're from the mouth of a fourth grader with a disability, and she's very profound and she just has just beautiful words of things and encouragement for us. Not only do we need to build our students, but look at she's building other educators, us. So this is amazing. So again, tip one is treat us like everyone else. Just give us the support we need. Tip two, learn about our accommodations and why they help. Tip three, believe in us. Even if it takes us longer, we'll get there. And tip four, let us show what we know in different ways. That's my favorite, Emma. And tip five, don't tell other students about someone's disability. really ask them. I think that's important. I know as teachers sometimes we forget. We're like, oh yeah, we'll just talk because we love to talk, right? But yeah, always ask for permission prior, right? Okay, so we are doing amazing on time. So we're going to just share out some final words before we open it up for any questions at the end. So, Emma, I'm going to let you go first before I share my final thoughts.
Thank you. My final thoughts are connecting to our theme, heroes. Being a teacher isn't just giving homework or grading papers. It's about helping kids believe in themselves. Some of us might need more time or tools like audiobooks or text to speech. Some of us are really fast at math but slow at reading. But we all want to learn and do our best. You don't need superpowers to be a great teacher. Just be kind, be patient, maybe bring snacks. Snacks always helps. No questions asked. I would love you if you brought snacks. Believe, support, teach. That's our true heroes. That is my
Awesome.
final thoughts. Um, that's all. Sorry.
No, Emma, you did great. Okay, so here's my final thoughts. By believing in your students and embracing their strengths, you can truly change lives. When we believe in our students, we can see them grow. They can thrive in ways that are above and beyond all that we could imagine. Really get to know your students. When we do that, they can thrive in ways, again, like I said, that go above and beyond, and we can unlock the power within and be that superhero, like Emma said. It doesn't take, you don't have to be a superhero. You can be that superhero just by being their teacher, right? You can be that superhero for them if we learn what works for them. Teachers and future educators, keep doing what you do. Show up each day and empower your students to be all that they can be. Like Emma said, I really like that, Emma. Believe, support, teach. That's what heroes do. Thank you guys all for being here. I think this was an eye-opening experience for me, just hearing just the refreshing thoughts and just the insight to what a fourth grade student had for us. I'm sure everyone else can say the same thing, but Emma, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for being here. We're going to open it up. If anyone has any questions in the chat, or if anyone wants to raise their hand and ask us some questions, feel free to do so. We have about a couple more minutes.
Before that, I'd just like to say thank you for listening to me, future teachers and teachers now that just want to learn about what a fourth grader says. It was really nice. This is my first ever speaking in front of multiple people. Hopefully I do it more, and I hope to be more comfortable. And just thank you for being here. Oh, that was all I needed to say. You can go back, Mr. Goodo.
Okay, we'll see if anyone else has any questions. Oh, there's some good things in the chat, Emma. Leah said, "You're both amazing. You're superheroes in my book. Wonderful job. I admire you, Emma. You are amazing. Amazing presentation full of insightful information. Thank you both so much for keep advocating." Aw, thank you all. All right, so if we don't have any other questions, one question we often hear is, how can I support a student without making them feel different? So, like I just said, be there for them, come alongside them, encourage them, and learn about them. And yeah, that's it. That's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much. You can look at any of our resources. Oh, here's another one, Emma. It says, "Thank you so much for sharing. Love listening to both of you and your different perspectives and helpful tips in the classroom. Amazing speech. Thank you for your message and your suggestions. You are both amazing. Thank you both. Thank you for speaking out. I'll be applying those tips in the future. You rock, Emma."
Thank you, whoever sent that. Thank you both. You bring a bright future. Emma. Oh.
Oh, thank you
Why
both.
do they do like the initials like S